Today we're 3D printing and painting EDI from Mass Effect 3. So I seen this 3D model show up on Thingiverse and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try printing this off. I've not done any figurines so far when it comes to 3D printing, and I thought EDI here would be the best choice because she's not real, she's a robot, so I can get away with painting her pretty badly compared to obviously trying to paint up a real person with real skin tones and all that, which is far more difficult. So here is the OG model. But there was one issue, and that is the hands at her back, which are just hovering in the air, which need a load of support and are very delicate. So as you can see here, just from trying to do this with tree supports, it was not going to go too well, but I did give it a go. And here is the results of the one with the hands. The hands eventually just fell over, and you can see they never really managed to get started properly with those fine details. So just went back to the drawing board, pushed her down into the build plate so that we'd have a much better base to start from. I've also scaled this up to about 200% as well, so that we've got a bigger figurine to work with when it comes to painting. And then we've got tree supports on for keeping her, basically our headpiece is the main issue for supports, because obviously part of it needs to be created in the air. So that's where these tree supports are coming in. And you'll see it supports the nose and all that as well, along with the back of the head. And these are tree supports that I'm starting to get a little bit more used to using now, and definitely worth it. They help a lot with doing especially stuff like this where you've got all these intricate shapes and stuff that does actually start in the air as well. So yeah, looking really good. But anyway, let's move on to the actual outcome. And overall, she came out beautiful. Real nice 3D model. And of course, link to the original file will be down below if you want to try giving this a go yourself. Now, EDI herself is pretty much a creation of early 2000s game design, and especially with the Mass Effect series, because all the main character females would have big boob armor, skin tight outfits, and EDI herself being a robot was effectively just made to look like a naked woman, effectively, with big breasts. And her proportions are definitely a little bit off. If you look, her breasts continue up to her chest. Like, all of it is very unusual, and she is very much a creation of her time. And I very much remember the funniest thing about, I think it was Mass Effect 2, when you had Miranda, who was basically your second in command in the game. And whenever you were talking to her, her camera, when she was replying back, would always be from her butt to you. So it was flipping hilarious. But yeah, here is EDI. She looks absolutely amazing. This 3D model is just perfect. So she looks great, and I think that's about 200% I printed her off. Went and gave her a spray paint of silver, and looks superb. And then I'm planning to go with a black and silver overall paint job, because that was kind of the default look she had. The actual best visuals I thought she had when it come to her cosmetics, because there was cosmetic bundles you could buy, and there was one that was like a full armor. I remember thinking that looked so cool. But this is EDI, and you can see she's got kind of, I don't know what kind of hairstyle that would be, something out of maybe the 70s, but definitely going for the suburban mum from maybe even going back to the 50s or something like that. And you can see how obviously her proportions are pretty much that she's naked, and she's got curves everywhere. And she was voiced by Trisha Helfer, who was from Battlestar Galactica. But anyway, time to start painting. So we've got our silver here, now adding on our black. And I think this ended up coming out really, really good. The black ended up helping to really hide the layer lines, and as a result, it looks sensational. Even with gloss, I thought when it was glossy, I was, is this going to work out good? Is it just going to highlight the layer lines? But no, honestly, this ends up looking incredibly cool. Now, I'm not the best at painting, especially figurines. Glad I printed this a little bit larger, because that meant I could get away with a bit of bad painting here and there. I've also come in and added a bit of silver to the face as well, so that we've got a little bit of highlights on those areas, because I don't want to try like drawing eyes or anything like that. But I figure a little bit of silver just to highlight the eyes and the mouth is a way of making it look good, along with the ears, or those ear pads, whatever the heck they are. And as a result, it looks incredible. She even has, believe it or not, eyelashes in this 3D model that came out actually looking really quite good. And overall, this has come out way better than expected. I think the paint job ends up looking great. It's not professional or anything, but overall doesn't look bad. And as a figurine, this is cool, well worth a little print. And if you want to mess around with this, there will be a link in the description below if you want to give it a go yourself. And yeah, I think she came out sensational. And it brings me back to my memories of playing Mass Effect with my squad. And I very much miss those character-driven, big, epic games. And this was also the perfect one to start with, because like I said at the start of the video, it's good to start with a character here that doesn't have skin tones or things that I need to match or make look real, because she's already a robot. It doesn't matter if I totally mess up the paint in certain areas, it just looks more like a robot. So I'm quite happy with the overall look. She looks sensational, and she was one of my favorite characters from back in the game. She's one of those ones that developed a lot, because of course she was brand new to the whole being a robot part. She used to just be a voice in the computer. So yeah, absolutely great. Very good model. Very much enjoyed printing this. It was actually quite easy. Of course, the hands were a problem, but getting them out of the way resulted in what ends up being a superb 3D model. And if you enjoyed watching this video or you want to check out more of my stuff that I've 3D printed, then subscribe and like, and I'll catch you guys next time. But this has been EDI from Mass Effect 2 and 3, and she has been a sensational print to make.